Hi everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is topic of the day session. In this session, we will be discussing a very important and a controversial topic which is very important from UPSC, prelims, mains as well as interview perspective. That is Waqf Amendment Bill. Okay, we will see what is Waqf Amendment. We will see first what is Waqf Board, and we will see the provisions of Amendment Bill and what are the highlights and the controversies surrounding Waqf Board. Okay, so the bill or the Waqf Bill modifies the governance of Waqf boards which manages Muslim religious endowments. The JPC or the Joint Parliamentary Committee led by Jagadambika Paul belonging to BJP reviewed the bill and rejected all 44 proposed amendments from the opposition members. Okay, so there was a bill made by the ruling party BJP, and for this bill there were 44 amendments proposed by the opposition parties. They have been rejected by the JPC now. The bill now awaits final approval in the parliament. Okay, now so what are the key amendments mentioned in amendment bill? First one is nomination of non-Muslim members. That is, it allows non-Muslims to be nominated in Waqf boards. Inclusion of women. That is, mandates at least 2 women representatives on Waqf boards. Then central Waqf council composition. It includes a union minister, 3 MPs, 2 former judges and 4 eminent persons. Loss of land claim rights, that is, it removes Waqf council's authority to claim the land. Okay, so the land which has already been lost, you cannot claim it now. Then donation restrictions are also there. That is, it prohibits donations from the Muslims who have practiced their faith for less than 5 years. Okay, so these are certain controversial provisions which have been criticized by the opposition government. Okay, so the political tensions and the opposition of the belief that the bill's passage has been marked by controversy and political clashes. As expected, the opposition MPs protested, accusing the ruling party of bias and rushing the bill ahead of Delhi elections on February 5, 2025. Okay, and 10 opposition MPs were suspended for disrupting the committee proceedings by the ruling party. Then Trinamool Congress MP, that is Kalyan Banerjee, reportedly smashed a glass bottle in the heated exchange during a meeting. As a result, obviously he was expelled from the or suspended from the meeting. Then, what are the concerns over this amendment bill? There are certain concerns over the religious freedom. That is, opposition leaders like Asauddin Owaisi and Kanimoli argue that the bill violates constitutional rights, particularly Article 15, which provides right to religion, right to practice, profess and propagate any religion is provided under Article 25. So this amendment bill is restricting the right to religion of Muslims. Okay, and under Article 15 there is also provision of right to religion, and then Article 30, that is minority communities' right to manage their own educational institutions. It provides a right for the minorities to establish and manage their own education institutions. Now these amendments are restricting the rights of minority, that is Muslims in this case. And then they claim the bill, it is Article 25, that is, they claim that the bill is an attack on Muslim autonomy and religious governance. Okay, so these are the criticisms. We have to wait and see if the bill will be passed or not, but this is very important for your interview preparation especially. The bill is expected to spark continued debates in parliament as the budget session ends on February 13, 2025. Its approval could set a precedent for a future minority rights and religious governance laws in India. and the outcome will be closely watched by political parties, religious communities, and legal experts. So it becomes one of the controversial legislative moves in the recent times with the far-reaching consequences for the governance, religious freedom, and the political discourse in India. So this is the current issue in this today's video. Now we'll discuss the static part. That is, what is Waqf board or Waqf board? It is a statutory body that manages and regulates Waqf properties, which are endowments made by Muslims for religious, charitable, or community purposes. Okay, suppose the land or any property has been endowed or charity has been given by the fellow Muslims for the Waqf board, so that they can use that land for either religious, either charitable, or community purposes. These properties are typically donated for mosques, that is establishment of mosques, madrasas, that is teaching Muslim education, and burial grounds, orphanages, and other welfare institutions. Okay, and so the legal basis is, it is governed by Waqf Act of 1995, which provides for the establishment of state Waqf boards as well as central Waqf council. Okay, as a result, each state, for example, Karnataka has a Karnataka state Waqf board, which is also in controversy because there was a position taken by the opposition leaders against the ruling government, that is Congress. And there are different types of Waqf, that is public Waqf and private Waqf. This public Waqf, these are established for the charitable and religious purposes such as mosques, madrasas, orphanages, and private Waqf meant for the benefit of family members but can have charitable aspects as well. So these are the two types of public Waqf boards, that is private as well as public Waqf. Now, so what are the key structures, functions of the Waqf board? The key functions are administration of Waqf property, obviously, ensuring the proper use and protection of Waqf lands and assets, maintaining the records, that is keeping an official registry of Waqf properties, then preventing encroachments, that is legal action against unauthorized use or occupation of Waqf lands, then allocating funds, that is managing donations and rental incomes and financial assets for the community welfare, and overseeing religious institutions, that is supporting the mosques, shrines, madrasas, and educational institutions which are funded by the Waqf. Okay, then legal framework, we already discussed this one, governed by the Waqf Act of 1995, state and the central Waqf boards, and the central Waqf council will oversee all the state Waqf boards to ensure transparency and efficiency. Then what is the structure of Waqf boards? Discussed already. There is central Waqf council, which is at the national level under the Ministry of Minority Affairs, that is going to provide policy guidelines, and state Waqf boards under the state jurisdiction. So what are the issues with respect to Waqf board administration? Okay, Waqf is there, it is a statutory body, it is administrating certain functions, but there are certain issues which resulted in this amendment bill. So we will see what are the issues. First one is encroachment and mismanagement, that is large scale illegal occupation of Waqf boards or Waqf lands due to lack of proper documentation and the enforcement. So there is one aspect here is large scale lands belonging to Waqf have been illegally occupied by other communities or other members of the society. Another aspect here is Waqf board declaring any property belong as their own property. There have been examples in Tamil Nadu where an entire village was declared as a Waqf property by the Waqf board, and it was trying to claim all the houses, temples, etc., which are belonging to that village as their own. So there is controversies regarding whether it is Waqf board or whether it is common people, mainly because of lack of proper documentation, and corruption and lack of transparency in leasing and selling Waqf properties. Okay, this is also important one. Then there is political and bureaucratic influence, that is, Waqf boards are often politicized, which is leading to nepotism and inefficiency. Then interference by state governments affects autonomy and effectiveness as well. Then there is also lack of transparency and accountability, that is, poor financial management and misuse of funds due to weak auditing mechanisms in the Waqf boards or Waqf council. Then there is no proper digital database of Waqf properties, leading to fraudulent land transfers. And fourth one is legal and constitutional challenges, that is, it is in contradictions between different laws such as land acquisition laws and Waqf property laws, which are in conflict with each other. Issues with judicial interventions, as Waqf disputes often end up in a long legal battles. And finally, exclusion of women, that is, historically women have been underrepresented in Waqf boards, and there are no clear provisions for women's participation in Waqf administration. As a result, the new amendment bill tried to include the provision of women in the Waqf council as well. So what are the reforms needed in Waqf administration? One is, because there is an issue with respect to land records, we need to digitize land records. Okay, digitization and land record reforms, that is, creating a centralized digital database of all Waqf properties to prevent encroachments, implementing GIS mapping to track illegal occupations and disputes, then strengthening governance and transparency, that is, independent audits and financial disclosures of Waqf board accounts, then strict monitoring by the Central Waqf Council to prevent corruption, and then reducing the political interference, that is, by ensuring the autonomy of Waqf boards and reducing the government control, merit-based selection of board members instead of political nominations. It is in this aspect that the government has brought this particular provision, that is, Central Waqf Board composition. It will include union ministers, 3 MPs, 2 former judges, and 4 eminent persons, so that the members belonging to Waqf boards are of immense knowledge. Okay, then and strengthening monitoring Central Waqf Board councils. Then legislative and structural reforms are amend Waqf Act of 1995 to increase penalties for encroachment and fraud, establishing fast track courts to quick resolution of Waqf property disputes. This should be the way forward, and that is what Waqf Board is trying to address. So however, the Waqf Board is critical institution for Muslim community welfare, but it faces challenges of mismanagement, encroachment, and political interference. Reforms like digitization and transparency, women's inclusion, and legal amendments are essential to improve its effectiveness. The Waqf Amendment Bill 2025 remains controversial and will have a long-term implications for minority rights and religious governance in India. So very, very important topic. There can be many kinds of questions asked about this from in the mains, prelims, or in the interview also. So be thoroughly prepared for this particular topic. If you have any more doubts regarding this topic, you can write down in the comment box. I will be addressing those comments as well. And if you want more videos like this, do sure to check out the channel as well. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.